An electric atmosphere at Raymond James Stadium in Tampa as the hometown Buccaneers come out onto the field. What a matchup tonight on Monday Night Football. The St. Louis Rams, the world champs, against the Tampa Bay Bucs. The joint is jammed, and here we go as the Rams have Darius Blevins back to receive. Tony Horn, their ace run-back specialist, still hurt. Martin Gramatica, who will be going to the Pro Bowl as the NFC place kicker, sends it skyward, and the kick on one hop taken by Blevins in the end zone. He will down it there, and the Rams will take over at the 20. Faulk, you recall, had arthroscopic knee surgery a few weeks ago. He's 100%. Kurt Warner missed a month with a broken pinky. This is his third game back. He played very effectively last week against Minnesota. From the 20, they start on the ground with Faulk, and he gains 2. The left tackle, Orlando Pace, will be going to the Pro Bowl, one of 4 Rams and one of 3 starters in the Pro Bowl for the NFC. On 2nd and 8, Warner, a short drop, and then the pass is tipped and incomplete off the hands of Torry Holt. There are 8 players in the league from Vanderbilt. 4 of them play for the Bucs. 3rd down and 8 from the 22. Ricky Prohl in motion. 4-man rush. Intercepted at the 29 by Ronde Barber. And right off the bat, huge break for Tampa.
I think they've let the crowd into the game.
This game starts exactly the way the championship game started last year in St. Louis, with an interception on the first possession of the game. Ronde Barber steps in front of this pass on a 3rd down. He steps right in front of Marshaull Faulk for the interception. So if this is a heavyweight fight, the first round goes to the Tampa defense.
And in a heavyweight sideshow, Adam Timmerman and John Lynch displayed their pugilistic skills. At the 20-yard line, Tampa on 1st down. Off the early turnover, and they give it to Mike Alstott, who has missed almost a month with a strained knee. And now Shaun King, who grew up in St. Petersburg, across the bay, local kid. 2nd down and 7, throwing a fade for Johnson, but he makes the catch out of bounds. He's covered by Dexter McLean.
I think that's a statement. They remember Ricky Prohl's fade better. I think they're letting them know that they haven't forgotten that game yet.
This is a heck of a throw by King. Just threw it too far to the outside by about a foot. If he leads Keyshawn, or at least lets Keyshawn jump for this ball, he's going to get a touchdown here. Watch his left foot hit the pylon.
Pylon was out of bounds.
And so is Keyshawn.
That'll be a great matchup all night. Johnson against McLean. 3rd down and 7 from the 17-yard line. King out of the shotgun. Shaun has it knocked down. Tried to throw it over the middle and had it knocked down. It will be 4th down, and Gramatica will come in to attempt the field goal.
And I think what he tried to do, Al, is try to hold on to that ball, and it just slipped out of his hand. A little indecision on Shaun King's part, but this will be very important for Gramatica now to come through with some 3 points for the Buccaneers after that turnover.
Kind of interesting, they came right out of the box to Alstott. Seeing as Warrick's been having such a nice 3 games when Alstott was away, I guess they wanted to get Mike right back into the rhythm.
This is a 35-yard attempt for Gramatica. And the kick is good. So this game starts exactly the way the NFC Championship game started last January.
Yes. Hey, I think the Rams have to feel great only giving up 3 there.
A short kick. It's fielded up at the 15-yard line, and it's taken by Sean Moran, who is the backup defensive end to Kevin Carter.
Sean Moran looked pretty good bringing that ball back. See how he lowered his shoulders, covered the ball up, punished a few Buccaneers, and gave the Rams pretty good field position.
He's an athlete. Senior year in high school, he was 3rd in the nation in the 100-meter breaststroke. Just throwing it out. Nobody has to do anything with it. Just let it lie there. But it is a fact.
It'll lie there, that's for sure. At the bottom of the pool.
From the 33-yard line. We'll sink or swim with you all night then, don't worry. From the 33 on 1st down. Faulk, the sole back. takes the toss, cuts it back upfield. Ronde Barber's interception was his second of the year. The Buccaneers are plus 13 in turnover ratio now. The Rams are minus 9 for the season. On 2nd and 9 on a draw, Faulk, he takes it to the 38-yard line. It'll be 3rd and 5. Warren Sapp makes the stop.
You know, looking at that defense of the Buccaneers, they've been cohesive and tough, and a good example of that is 8 of the 11 starters on defense have started every game. Draw play this time for Faulk. Just look at how McFarland and the linebackers closed there. Sapp on the tackle.
Yeah, he's also the best defensive player in this league.
13 and a half sacks. Marcus Jones with 13. It's 3rd down and 5. And that is incomplete. Warner may have had his hand hit, intended for Oz Hakeem. So for Kurt Warner tonight, he starts the game 0 for his first 3 with a pick.
Boy, and he had the matchup he wanted. He had Oz Hakeem on Anthony McFarland, who dropped out of his defensive line spot, and Hakeem trips over the umpire. That's why that ball was incomplete.
Baker, the rookie.
Ref gave him a little booty shot there as he went through the middle.
There have been 9 offensive plays in this game for the two teams, and a total of 10 yards have been gained. And now King throws, and it's intercepted by McLean. And we talked about the McLean matchup. Normally he'll be faced with Keyshawn Johnson going downfield. This time it's Jaquez Green who draws the coverage as McLean with the pick. And
McLean with his 7th of the year. Shaun King shouldn't have thrown this ball, but he doesn't get much help from Jaquez Green. He doesn't fight for this ball. He allows McLean to take position and then go up for the interception uncontested.
But it wasn't even an option of not throwing it, Dan. He didn't even look. He just kind of dropped back. It was almost like a punt. He was throwing it anyway.
At the 24-yard line. And it's a throwback to Holt. And the Bucs are right there to knock him down after a very minimal gain.
Well, that's the only thing about the Rams that's a throwback is that play, because everything is ultra modern.
And the key for Tampa, and Herman Edwards, their defensive back coach, who was a great player with the Eagles, told me when they go to tackle, they're going to go to the outside in. So they're going to force these receivers back to the inside where all the tacklers are, the great linebackers and John Lynch.
For what it's worth, look at that. The numbers for Warner, of course, they play their home games on artificial turf, but on grass fields this year, 1 touchdown and 7 interceptions. On 2nd and long, a ton of time, and then he finds the open man at the 42, and that's Isaac Bruce, who hauls in his first pass of the night for a first down.
That's a heck of a throw by Kurt Warner because he had to fit it into the zone here. Bruce is coming over number 80 right there in front of John Lynch. And he bobbles the ball but makes the catch, as Isaac Bruce always seems to do. He comes from the other side of the field. You can see the zone. Barber lets him go. Now he's got to find his way behind the linebackers and make the tough catch.
83rd catch of the season, 17 yards for Isaac Bruce. First down, St. Louis at the 43. 3 receivers set to the left. Warner looks the other way, now to the left, and takes the sack. And there is Warren Sapp, number 99, along with Anthony McFarland. Warren Sapp talking about the Bucs and tackling philosophy and sacks.
You got to have 11 hats to the ball. You know, somebody grabs this guy, we got to all rally to the ball and put him on the ground, and we got to punish him. We got to make him not want the ball in the 4th quarter because he's going to take 11 hats on his body, and that's something that, you know, goes with that will.
14 and a half sacks this season, or about 1 per game for the Pro Bowl bound number 99.
Give some credit to that secondary. Warner looked all over the field for a Ram receiver and couldn't find one.
2nd down and 15. Warner has to step up and then throw into coverage, and a wonderful catch made by Torry Holt with 3 Buccaneers around him at the 40-yard line. 22-yard gain.
Talk about counterpunching. They get the sack on the previous down. This time, Warner steps up into the pocket, gets away from the pressure, and then he forces the ball to his receiver, Torry Holt, on the outside here. Look at the depth by Derek Brooks, number 55 there. What a great throw by Warner, and a lot of confidence in Torry Holt to go up high and make the catch.
Torry Holt averaging 19.8 yards per catch. That's big time. At the 40-yard line, Warner hit as he throws. It's tipped, it's juggled, and incomplete. The intended receiver was Roland Williams off his hands, and Derek Brooks came that close.
Well, Martz told us the other night the worst-case scenario for his team is if they were getting pressure from the Bucs just by the Bucs front four, and that's what's coming to fruition here.
Dennis, on that time, the Bucs crossed him up a little bit, though. They brought Shelton Quarles, linebacker, from the weak side, from Warner's blind side. He never sees the linebacker right there. Quarles just a little bit late.
You'll hear an edited version.
Yeah, on that one.
2nd down and 10 from the 40. Swing pass, it's Faulk. Eludes a tackle at the line of scrimmage and turns it into a gain of about 17 as he's out of bounds at the 23, and there's a flag down at the end of the play.
It was just a little afterthought face mask, probably a 5-yarder, but Marshall pointed it out to the ref.
Johnny Greer makes the call.
Face mask, number 24, defense. First down.
Damian Robinson.
On this screen pass, you're going to see Ryan Tucker, number 50, come out and lay a block right there on Derek Brooks. This is what a defense does not want to see. There's Adam Timmerman getting out on John Lynch. Here's the penalty. That's that 5-yard variety, Dennis, you were talking about.
And the Rams have to take a timeout. Well, here we are in the Sunshine State. Mike Martz knows his team cements a postseason berth with a win tonight. So does Tony Dungy with his Buck unit. At the 18 after a timeout, 1st down, Warner throws, caught inside the 10. Isaac Bruce, 1st and goal, St. Louis.
Well, Warner's finding his fastball. You don't want to let this guy get his rhythm.
And what they're doing right now is they're changing personnel on every time. They went with two tight ends that time, and with the big fullback, James Hodgins, gave the Buccaneers a run look and threw the slant to Isaac Bruce.
You know, Trent Green threw a great pass. This kid throws a perfect pass.
He's awful good, that's for sure, Dan.
Rams best in the league in the red zone, and Marshaull Faulk, who scored 4 touchdowns last week, and he's had 2 4-touchdown days in 2000, is tackled by John Lynch. In fact, in 2 games against San Francisco this year, Faulk has scored 7 touchdowns against the 49ers alone.
From that ump cam, you really get a feel for the vision that any running back needs to have down there. He got in behind his big fullback that time. Good gain on 1st down.
Marshall with 19 touchdowns this season, and he's missed 1 full game and most of another. 2nd and goal from the 2. Faulk looking for TD number 20 and has it. Touchdown, Rams.
Well, it was probably a good reminder for the Rams last week, that Marshall, that they could score that many points without scoring via the air, Dan. 4 touchdowns for Marshall reminded Mikey, as much as you like to pass, you got to set it up with a run once in a while.
That was all power, too. You don't expect Marshaull Faulk to be the power runner, but he can run between the tackles, and, of course, he can get out in space.
No bob and weave after this one. 8 Rams find a total of $90,000 for the B&W in the game against Minnesota.
Take a look at this touchdown run by Marshaull Faulk. This is Derek Brooks. He shoots this gap right here, but Faulk turns it to the outside, and they get what they want. Faulk being tackled by Brian Kelly as the Rams convert Dexter McCleon's interception into a touchdown.
Well, you do have to go to the bathroom, folks. You might want to do it now, because Tampa never returns a kick for a touchdown.
They haven't in their history. They've been in the league since '76, and they set up a convoy for Carl Williams. There's a flag down, and Williams is tackled up at the 29-yard line. Trey Bly makes the stop. Johnny Greer will make the call. Holding against Tampa. Torry Holt and Isaac Bruce will each find 20 grand. Here is Dunn, and that's what he does so brilliantly, so often, and so effectively. turning a loss into a gain close to a first down.
Dennis, you talked about Allstott getting the first carry. This is a 9-yard gain by Warrick Dunn, and this is, he looks a lot like Marshaull Faulk here, doesn't he? Number 28, great moves, great vision, makes the guy miss, never gets a square shot. He's so important to this offense.
Well, the first 11 games, as you can see, his average 52, and then with Allstott out of the lineup, and now Allstott is back in, shedding pads along the way, and takes it up to the 30, and that's a first down.
Well, obviously, Allstott's an all-pro. He's a monster. He's like a Ray Harryhausen creation. But the fact is, both these guys, although diametrically opposed in a physical sense, need to be the feature back.
As the fullback, even though he doesn't play what has become a conventional fullback role in this league, a la Sam Gash.
Yeah, he's not a great blocker, Al, and quite frankly, he's had a propensity over the last few years for putting the ball on the carpet.
He has. In fact, his fumble against the New York Jets after this team had started 3-0 was the beginning of a 4-game losing streak for the Bucs, who have now rebounded to win 6 out of 7.
That being said, imagine how insanely pumped up the O-line gets when Allstott careens through. There's the stat right there.
Since the 79 Chiefs, they've won 3 straight games without throwing 20 passes in any of those games. Right now, King has thrown 3 passes in this one. He's 0 for 3. Oh! And great play by Grant Wistrom. Shed the blocker, came in, and takes care of Warrick Dunn behind the line of scrimmage.
He beat the block of George Hageman, number 79. Wistrom has great quickness, and he's healthy. He's had some shoulder problems, but he is back playing with great quickness on the outside here, staying low and finding Warrick Dunn in the backfield.
Carter a little somnambulant early in the season, but he's coming to the fore now that it's money time.
3rd down and 10 as King from the shotgun has Johnson open, and Keyshawn makes the catch at the Ram 38-yard line. Looked inside, had to go back the other way as the ball was thrown over his outside shoulder and beats Devin Bush on 3rd and 10.
And what a confidence builder this will be, not only for the quarterback, but for the entire team. And especially if you get Keyshawn Johnson going, he's one of those players that will infect his team positively with his attitude. Gets away from Dre Bly. It's a zone coverage by the Rams. Bush comes over. That ball was perfectly thrown by Shaun King.
This is done. It's pinball down after a gain of 2. Mike Jones popping up.
Sounded like they were hitting the heavy bag on Warrick there. Boom,
I thought it was the cannons from the boat.
No, he just got propped up and took a couple big Georgie Chivallo body shots.
Boy, he did. Watch this now. Here's the first one. That's Mike Jones. He bounces off him like that pinball, and then Keith Lyle comes in there and really hits him again.
Warrick just started looking for a place to get down.
2nd and 8. From the 36-yard line, that's caught. Johnson, Keyshawn on a slant, takes it inside the 15 and is ridden down by Todd Light at the 13-yard line. 23 yards for Johnson.
And this is a guy that averages 12 yards a catch. So the last 2 pass plays worth 55 yards for the Buccaneers and Keyshawn Johnson. You know, you ask him about the way things are going, you can almost feel, Dennis, that he's pewter with envy when he looks at the Ram receivers.
Yeah, but you know, he's going to probably end up with 70 catches this year, Dan. He couldn't have expected much more out of that when he came down to Tampa.
1st and 10 from the 13-yard line. King, a little swing pass. Dunn inside the 10. Dunn loses his helmet and turns it into a 1st and goal.
You never know in this game. He might have lost the whole cranium. You better check. No, it's still on.
Again, going head first, Warrick Dunn. He's 5'8". They say he weighs 180 pounds. I think all 180 of those pounds is heart. Look at this effort. Look at the explosion to jump inside, take another tackler on head first, lose his headgear, spin, and get all the way down to the 2-yard line.
Yeah, I think they had to pay a little homage to Allstott earlier, but I think it's going to be Warrick's game tonight.
1st and goal from the 2. Dunn and Allstott both in there now. Allstott the fullback. They give it to Dunn. Looks for room, swings to the outside, and the Bucs have just gone 82 yards to take the lead.
That was classic Marshaull Faulk, Dan.
Yeah,
just like him there.
And classic Warrick Dunn, too. You know, they brought in Allstott as the fullback, and the Rams were expecting the power right up the middle, but Dunn, with his quickness and vision, jumped to the outside. Speed got him to the corner.
Who would have ever thought somebody as big as Allstott would end up being a decoy? You think you get him in there at the one, he's getting the ball, but not the case.
Gramatica for the point after.
It's gone!
If Baltimore beats the Jets next Sunday, then Tennessee's going to have to win that game to be the #1 seed and have home field throughout the playoffs. Darius Blevins runs the kickback to the 29-yard line. Significance again of this game tonight is the winner of this game automatically goes into postseason play. Mike Martz's team, as I mentioned at the very top, could still be the #1 seed. And that would happen if the Rams win tonight and win in New Orleans next Sunday, while Jacksonville knocks off the Giants and the Vikings lose at Indy next week. If all those things happen, the Rams go in as the 1 seed.
And aren't we lucky to have Al Michaels to figure that out for us, huh, Dennis?
Otherwise known as Irwin Corey.
I was out in the kitchen.
From the 28-yard line, here's Faulk to the short side of the field for a short gain of 2. Up to the 30-yard line, it'll be 2nd and 8.
Well, I think Martz's prime directive tonight was to not let Tampa Bay dictate pace of this game. And that's by the boards already. Better just throw caution to the wind and start putting it up.
And that will be the end of the first quarter, a spirited one. Tony Dungy trying to get his team into the playoffs in his 5th year. Tony, if his team loses tonight, they still go to the playoffs if they beat Green Bay next Sunday. On 2nd down as we start the 2nd quarter, Hakeem drops it. Hakeem dropped it up at the 35-yard line. It'll be 3rd down and 8.
I'm not sure you want to go into Lambeau in late December against a hot Brett Favre needing a game, Albino.
And a cold day, that's for sure. You know, you look at these first quarter stats, it's pretty even. Kurt Warner started the game 0 for 3, as did Shaun King. They both have rallied a little bit. Hakeem, though, didn't give his quarterback much help on that last play. Dropped an easy completion.
Back where I come from, they don't have good hands, but they do have his 4.4 speed.
3rd down and 8. 4-man rush. Warner throwing, in the seam he finds Ricky Prohl. Ricky Prohl gets free behind the linebackers in front of the safety at the 42-yard line, and the Rams move the sticks.
Warner is just beautiful to watch.
How about Ricky Prohl? This is his longest catch of the year, and it is in no man's land. This ball is in the air, and there are human missiles coming at Ricky Prohl, especially the flesh bomb named John Lynch.
Yeah.
This guy is a hitter, reacts a little bit late on this perfectly thrown pass, but still delivers the hit.
Got behind Quarles and in front of Lynch, and it's a 3rd and 8 conversion, and on 1st and 10, this is Torry Holt, and he takes it to the 29-yard line. So the Rams on the move again. Just to finish, one thing about the Bucs, as we take a look at the ump cam here, they get a 1st-round playoff bye if they win tonight and win at Green Bay, and the Rams win at New Orleans. There's the pass to Torry Holt. So a lot of things can happen, but the one thing about the Bucs, if they lose tonight, they can still get into the playoffs by winning at Green Bay next week.
Are the Cleveland Browns out of the playoffs?
They certainly are.
All right.
And they're done for the year because they have a bye next week. 1st and 10 from the 28. And that's a 4-yard gain for Marshaull Faulk, who takes it to the 24-yard line. Marshall tonight has carried the ball 7 times for 18 yards.
And how about Kurt Warner, already over 100 yards passing, and he really feels it looks comfortable out there. You know, this is a very good pass rush he's facing in the front 4 of the Buccaneers. Told me he has to be patient, but right now he is taking some chances and getting away with it. He is throwing the ball beautifully.
2 minutes into the 2nd quarter. 10-7 Buccaneers. who show blitz, and here they come, and it was Barber who was blitzing and knocks down Faulk behind the line of scrimmage.
Barber made that tackle, but usually the Bucs front seven like to wrap people up quickly because they know if they don't get him down, Lynch is coming up, and once he goes past his fail-safe point, there's no recalling him.
You know, Ronde Barber has 5.5 sacks because of action like that. He's got a great nose for the ball and great timing. He read that little draw play there for Marshaull Faulk and was all over it.
That's a 75th tackle too, Dano.
What a year for the Barber family. Twin brother Tiki, maybe the Giants MVP. 3rd down and 8. Warner throws. It is caught at the 21 by Bruce, who then dives for what he hopes will be a first down. Kroll says it is. Let's see where they mark it. Very close.
Here's Bruce on the outside against Donnie Abraham, who's going to the Pro Bowl as well. Just the precision of the route and then good leverage to be able to spin Abraham to the outside and get close to picking up a first down. Talk about your back foot pass by Kurt Warner. He has such great confidence in his receivers and they in him.
Beautiful to watch Bruce free himself up with that simple head feint. Gets himself off the line.
And he dives but doesn't have the first down. You heard the cheer. They're inches shy. It's 4th down. Their offensive unit stays on the field, passing up an opportunity, at least for the moment, of attempting a 35-yard field goal.
This is the gambler, Mike Martz.
This guy's a killer. He's like Phil Beck.
I like that analogy. 4th and inches. Faulk. And he just found the right move, the right time to move back to his right and pick up the first down.
Well, he did, didn't he? You know, the guy is fearless in the middle in all this heavy traffic. He's checking out the replay board right there, admiring this bit of fancy footwork. There's the jump to the inside. Nate Webster comes over, makes the tackle, but it's too late.
You know, Martz almost has to go for that. In this hostile environment, he's got to carve out his own turf and let his team know he's going all the way with them tonight.
Well, you talk about a confused defense. They didn't know where they line up there.
Warren Sapp jumping over to the right side on first down from the 16-yard line. Hole for Faulk all the way to the end zone. Marshaull Faulk in again behind a James Hodgins block. A 16-yard touchdown. A little bit of a mile-high salute, and that is legal. No fine there. And Faulk, despite missing, as we said before, 2 games this season, has scored 21 touchdowns in 2000.
He thinks he who has the ball last might win it tonight.
A little bit of a delay there at the time. Great block by Hodgins. And that gives Faulk the clear lane to the corner of the end zone. The Buccaneers were caught in a blitz that time.
Wilkins for the point after. Well, this will be the 1,484th return of a kickoff by Tampa Bay with nary a touchdown. Carl Williams, can he go 91? More like 21.
I took a shot. If it was wrong, I was joking. If it was right, I'm immortal.
The odds were in your favor.
Christie and McDaniel in the Pro Bowl, both coming over from Minnesota. Denny Green still got his team at 11-4. Nice testimony to him.
Meanwhile, Pearson, who normally plays left tackle, you saw him introduce himself. George Hegeman taking that spot tonight, the ex-Cowboy. First and 10 at the 31-yard line, and this is Warrick Dunn picking up 2. Tackle of Kevin Dyson at the 1-yard line cemented the Rams Super Bowl win in Atlanta last January. 2nd down and 8. King coming this way, turns it upfield, first down, into Ram territory, forced out of bounds by Todd Light at the 48-yard line. 19-yard run for Shaun King.
And that 19-yarder equaled his long of the year, and he caught the Rams in basically a man-to-man pass defense. Because when he gets to the outside here, there is nobody in support. The defensive backs are running down the field. King sees that, knows he's got a big gain on his hands.
Hold at the 48, back to the ground, Claude Dunn. And Dunn is forced out of bounds.
Cleon having a great year, Al. 54 tackles, 6 ints, 18 passes defensed. Been a bellwether back there, I believe is the word.
Attaboy, now you get all of the cliches down. He's been a workhorse as well.
And a bell cow.
And a bell cow to the 39-yard line.
Hey, Middleton in the middle of it. He was talking a lot of stuff this week. Said he thought the Rams were punks for celebrating. Said he hated the team. I think he better watch himself in the scrums tonight. Might catch a little extracurricular.
Every play's extracurricular in the pits, Dennis. It's incredible what happens down there. Pretty good evening started out for both of these guys. They're really carrying the load for their teams, as you would expect them to.
The Bucs are worst in the league in short yardage situations, 3rd and 1 and 4th and 1, but here they convert by going to the air to Keyshawn Johnson to the 34-yard line. Mike Jones makes the tackle. Boy, there's been some big 3rd and 4th down conversions on both sides tonight already.
Yeah, I like this play too, because he got Keyshawn man-to-man on the outside. Push off there, totally illegal. He gets away with it, picks up the 1st down. Just came down the field, pushed off with both hands on Todd Light, turned around and made the catch, and the officials ignore it.
Bucs had only been 7 of 17 this season on 3rd and 1. The league average, normally you'll make that about 2/3 of the time.
A lot of
1st and 10 from the 34. Fakes to Dunn, and then going deep and reaching for it was Patrick Hape, the tight end, but he couldn't make the catch. It'll be 2nd down and 10. Hape had gotten free. Pass a little long for him. Keyshawn Johnson tonight, 3 catches, 61 yards, 2 big catches on their touchdown drive.
And a veteran quarterback in Testaverde, and just a 2nd-year guy in Shaun King here in Tampa.
2nd and 10 from the 34-yard line. King throws underneath. It's caught at the 29-yard line. Warrick Dunn, the safety valve on that play, hauls it in. Fletcher covering on it. And that's going to set up a 3rd down and 4.
You know, if he gets this ball out in front of Warrick Dunn may score. That's probably one of the knocks against Shaun King, is that he's just not very accurate at times. He had the time to find Dunn. Here's London Fletcher. He's acting as the spy on the quarterback. See, he's just looking at King, and then Dunn gets in behind him, but if that ball's out in front, Dunn goes a long way.
You're right, Dan. He's smart, he's poised, but it's just a little off, unlike Warner, huh?
He's young.
From the 28-yard line. That's caught, and it is Jaquez Green keeping his feet inbounds and converting at the 20-yard line for a 1st down.
Boy, Dexter McLean went for the pick. Just missed it. Watch this fastball by King. This is a beautiful throw. Gets it over Farr's hand. There's McLean, 21, and Green with his feet inbounds.
Oh, Dexter was sitting on that.
Ball came close to being tipped right here by DeMarco Farr. And almost by McLean. Great job getting the feet in.
Must have heard our accuracy comment, because that ball was the only place it could be.
1st and 10 at the 20-yard line, and this could be challenged as Johnny Greer is going to go over to Mike Martz.
Good, because this game was getting exciting. And, you know, you want to hit the bat chute here. I'll be in my
St.
sleeping
Louis
bag.
is challenging the ruling on the field that the pass was complete.
It was 3rd down and 4, and this would make it a 1st down. So if they win the challenge, it'll be 4th down. Here it is again.
Question is whether that right foot and the toes on that right foot dotted the I. Left foot's down, and the right foot was down as he was catching the ball. I think that's a good catch.
Yeah, but we're no longer in a football game. We're at an autopsy.
Does he have possession? The ball starts to come loose.
He had it in both hands, didn't juggle it at all, pulled it into his body. By the time he pulls it into his body, he's way out of bounds, but I think he's got possession there, and both feet in.
That's what Greer's looking for, both feet in and possession.
What about the guy 6 feet away with his eyes on it? Let's just make him call it and stick with that.
Martz this season, he is 4 for 7. Pretty good rate for coaches' challenges. A little extra stuff with Dexter McLean.
Well, these guys go way back. McLean at Clemson, Jacquez Green, Florida. You know, they've seen each other a lot.
It's either going to be a first down at the 21-yard line or 4th down and 4. You're right.
Turn off, Raymond. We got a football game here. It's stopped on temporarily. We're having a little sorbet, but we're coming.
Or Callista.
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field stands as called. We have a completed catch, both feet down in bounds with possession of the ball. First down.
So that cost the Rams a timeout. They took one earlier, so they're now down to 1.5.
All right, so who got the ball?
Detroit.
All right, I got to remount here. Detroit. Danny Pompey's pick. Still hanging in there.
They're still alive for the playoffs.
Danny throwing darts at the board with a blindfold on there.
Could be the last days of Pompey. They don't come through.
1st and 10 from the 20. Dunn. Gain of 1, 19-yard line. Second down and 9. King throws, caught at the 9-yard line, and that is a completion to Dave Moore for what should be a first down.
I'll tell you this about Marks. He understands ball dispersal like John Stockton. Here's the replay.
You know, the thing that he doesn't understand, though, is how his defense is getting picked apart now by Shaun King and this Buccaneer offense.
Well, that's Bud Carson's area. Nice to have Bud back in the league, by the way.
I love a game that doesn't have any punts in it. This is great.
1st and goal. 4:45 remaining in the half. Here's Dunn. You know, an interesting thing about this game right now, Dan, is it's being played at the Rams' pace. The Rams wanted kind of a racehorse track meet. The Bucs slow it down and ugly. It's being played at the Rams' pace, but the Bucs are hanging right with them at that pace.
You know, and I asked Tony Dungy, are you comfortable if you get into a shootout? And Tony, you talk about honest coach. He looked at me dead in the eye and says, yeah, we are. We feel we can do it. And I'm thinking, are you sure? I mean, I've seen tapes of your team. He says, we have the talent to match up against this defense.
Well, the last time on a Monday night, they played a little bit of racehorse at Minnesota in a tight game, which the Vikings won. 2nd and goal. King avoids the sack, throws, touchdown, Keyshawn Johnson.
Uh-oh. They got a little bob and weave happening.
Just the bob.
Wow. Well, the bob's 45.
I'm not sure that's going to be enough. London Fletcher absolutely whiffed on Shaun King. Coming free on the blitz, totally unblocked. King makes a miss, stands up and fires a touchdown pass.
Well, this is what Keyshawn had to dream of when he was coming down here. Playing for a Super Bowl contender, scoring big touchdowns.
Here comes London Fletcher on the blitz. Warrick Dunn is going to try and get a piece of him, but Shaun King is staring him in the face, hoping that Dunn can get a little bit of him, because this is what he wants to see. Johnson getting free inside McLean for the touchdown.
How did he get that free?
I think he made a great move on McLean, because jumping to the inside like that is what McLean didn't want to have happen.
Gramatica's kick, fielded 6-yard line by Darius Blevins. Up past the 20, and he brings it back out. 3:50 remaining in the half. 17-14 Bucs. Warner to throw. And that is underthrown, intended for Isaac Bruce. Let's check in with Melissa.
Al, during the Bucs' last drive, defensive coordinator Monty Kiffin was over by the benches, gathered the entire Tampa Bay defense, even waited for a couple of players who were late to come to the huddle to start talking. He was trying to fire them up, trying to pump them up, kept pointing to his head, said, you've got to keep your heads in the game. We'll see how they respond.
He's one of the very best. Monty Kiffin, of course, Tony Dungy from the defensive side of the ball. Between Dungy and Kiffin, you understand why Their defense is always good. 2nd and 10. A little shovel pass, and if that's it is a forward pass, so it's incomplete. It's no fumble. It's a forward pass. Same thing as an overhand forward pass.
Yeah, you're all over that, Al. It looked like it hit Adam Timmerman, which would be an illegal forward pass. 62 is Timmerman. And I think it got a little bit of his arm there. Watch Warner come out. Stephen White, and that ball hits Timmerman. That should have been an illegal forward pass.
And you saw Timmerman do it. He went right for it.
But the call is simply an incompletion, as it turns out. He was trying to get it to Faulk, who was behind Timmerman. 3rd down and 10. Warner. Oh, big time sack. And Warren Sapp, who I'm sure had a few things to say to Kurt as well.
2 sacks tonight now for big number 99. There he is here. Watch him wade through this offensive line. 61 is Tom Newton. Gets a good shot on him, but Sapp is just relentless. You don't think that hurts. 300 pounds right dead in your chest and then down to the ground. Look at those eyes.
That's like the New York Giants sack against Joe Montana maybe 5-7 years ago.
Leonard Marshall.
John Baker, rookie from North Texas, who was in the Colts camp this summer. Floats one to the 36. Carl Williams back to the 41-yard line. Tampa Bay, all of its timeouts, plus the 2-minute warning. This drive starts at the 42, and King, everybody covered, takes off, slides to a stop after a gain of 5.
Well, if I'm a Tampa Bay fan, I'm encouraged that they dropped King back there with 2:38 to play and a half. Why put the governor plate on this team? I don't understand Steckel and Dungy sometimes. When you see them perform like this and they're outgaining the St. Louis Rams, the offense of this year, you wonder why they ever hold up.
Well, it's something that a lot of the fans have been asking about as well. 2nd down and 6 from the 46-yard line. King, here's Dunn on the screen, and then he swings to the outside, and he turns nothing into a 1st down. He nearly gets tackled behind the line of scrimmage, but reads it perfectly and swings toward the sideline, takes it to the 46. 8-yard pickup.
This is Kevin Carter, number 93, University of Florida. Warrick Dunn, Florida State University. There's one for the Seminoles. What a move.
1st down at the 46 of the Rams. The Bucs with all of their timeouts and going for Johnson, and that's incomplete. Keyshawn trying to make it look as if he was held up by Todd Light, but no officials buying that. Mike Jones with the blitz that time. 2nd and 10.
Mike Jones and Todd Collins, 54, top of the screen there. Jones from this side. And look at this shot by Carter as he makes Shaun King pay for Warrick Dunn, embarrassing him on the earlier play. Great stunt by Carter as he bends over Shaun King.
2nd and 10, a swing again. Dunn, 1st down, inside the 30, cuts it back to the middle, tackled at the 23, finally by the middle linebacker, London Fletcher.
Perfect call by Les Steckel, offensive coordinator. Blitz came again. This time it was a safety blitz by Devin Bush. The perfect call is a swing pass to an elusive runner like Warrick Dunn. Great timing, perfect execution, and now the Buccaneers are threatening big time.
And who would have thought the Bucs at this point in the game, 15 passes, only 14 runs.
Not me.
No, 23-yard gain there. And there's run number 15 as King takes it to the 16-yard line. And now Tampa Bay will spend its 1st timeout. Bucs and the Rams, and it figured to be a great game when the schedule came out. It's been a wonderful 1st half. Teams marching up and down the field with 1:06 remaining. Mike Martz looking on as his defense right now. He's watched his team score the most points per game in the league this year and give up the most. There have been an average of 63.6 points scored in a Rams game this year.
Gone.
King. Touchdown. Keyshawn Johnson. and King got buried as he threw by Mike Jones.
And there is no greater feeling for a quarterback to beat the blitz with a touchdown pass. Talk about sending a message. Shaun King is on fire tonight. Remember, he started 0 for 3. He's now just missed 5 passes all night long.
And did you see that? Keyshawn went right to the crowd and gave the ball to Wayne Corbett. Unbelievable. It's all good tonight. It's Christmas.
5 catches, 86 yards, and 2 touchdowns for the ex-Jet. Gramatica tacks on the extra point. And here are the Bucs in a shootout with the Rams, and with 60 seconds remaining in the half, up by 10.
Well, you know, Al, over the course of the season, the Rams have gotten around 160 more yards per game than the Bucs, but tonight you're looking at 80 yards plus for the Tampa Bay team. They've really come out, and they look like the Rams here in the first half.
Keyshawn Johnson, well, we talked about buck ball. What's buck ball?
It's just nasty and dirty football, which I like to play anyway. I'm not a receiver that, you know, just wants to run crossing.
Well, I guess we'll have to find out what buck ball is later.
Well, I'll tell you what it is. He says it's nasty and getting down and dirty. I asked.
Well, it's
Warren
hard to shut
Sapp
Keyshawn up.
Well, Warren Sapp had a different definition. He says it's being aggressive and setting the tone for 60 minutes. You know, Tony Dungy said playing smart. But they all came to the same conclusion, doing whatever it takes.
I know what happened. Corbett went down to the truck and hit stop on the tape machine.
That's the first time I've seen anybody shut Key up all year. We had the blowout or loop.
He's going to be talking a lot after this one. 5 catches, 86 yards, 2 touches.
Blevins back to return the kickoff. Gramatica's kick a short one. Blevins at the 14-yard line. And Blevins taking the place of the injured Tony Horn brings it back up to the 31.
Here comes the blitz. Shaun King sees it from the weak side. Mike Jones just a little bit late getting there, and Todd Light is beaten by Keyshawn Johnson. Watch the hit that King takes right in the helmet and still delivers the ball on the money.
Wow, King was cool there, huh?
Mike Jones really lays a lick on him there. It's a double hit, but the ground is one of them too.
From the 31-yard line, the Rams have 1 timeout. Faulk, good tackle. Ronde Barber.
It's going to be very difficult for the Rams to get anything against this defense. They can put pressure with front 4 and cover with 7, and they're going to play real deep and let Warner have all those short passes.
They're letting the clock run. The Rams are playing buck ball.
2nd and 10, saving their last timeout. Warner throws and trying to get out of bounds, and he does, is Torry Holt. No, they're going to say that his progress was stopped before he got out of bounds. They keep the clock rolling. Brian Kelly with the coverage.
Well, Marks knows they're not going to go down the field against this defense. He just doesn't want a turnover. So let the clock run out, go in at halftime, take your medicine, and try again.
That's a wacky first half where the Bucs control the pace of the game at the Rams' basic pace. And we start the second half now in Tampa, Florida. 24-14, Bucs on top. Again, if the Bucs win, they're in. They can get as high as a number 2 seed if they win tonight. And a couple of other good things happen to them next weekend. But at worst, they'd be in. Second half kickoff into the arms of Carl Williams at the 9-yard line. And Williams gets taken down up at the 33-yard line by Dre Bly. And Dan, let's check out the numbers of the first 30 minutes here.
Well, you know, Shaun King has averaged 16 passes the last 4 games. He's thrown 16 in the first half. And yes, he has outpassed the great Kurt Warner. Super half, as he's hit 11 out of 16 for those 151 yards.
Well, good for Les Steckel, eh, Dan? I mean, you know, he's been holding it reserve all year. He's letting the kid play.
And he's taking advantage of Keyshawn Johnson's talents as he has 5 catches and 2 touchdowns.
They begin with Dunn on the ground, and Dunn begins the second half with a first down up to the 46-yard line. Tackled by Keith Lyle. From the 45, Uma Thurman. Dunn, no gain. Johnson and Bruce, the two key receivers tonight. And let's a look at how they have matched up statistically.
It's 12 yards per catch. That's holding Isaac Bruce down because along with Torry Holt, they are so dangerous. Bruce, a big play receiver for a long time for the Rams. Keyshawn having a great night too.
Wow, Holt had 9 for almost 180 last week, Dan. I think we've called his name once tonight on some ancillary matter.
Yeah, he's caught 4 passes though.
2nd and 9 for the 46. Here's Dunn. Dunn up to the 50-yard line. Let's check in with Eric. ED.
Well, I talked to Mike Marsh at halftime. He said that one thing he's really disappointed is the tackling of the Rams football team. He says he's blitzing more than he wants to blitz. But one thing he says that the Buccaneers are really keeping the offense off the field, and that's true. They're really keeping the offense off the field, and that's why the Buccaneers really have the lead right now.
Buccaneers time of possession 17-17 to 14-26 for the Rams. 3rd and 5 at the 50-yard line out of the shotgun. Rams show blitz, and here they come, and King is able to step up and step out and picks up the first down.
Well, if they let the Bucs march down the field on this first drive, they're really going to re-energize the crowd here at Raymond James Stadium. Who is Raymond James?
Two different guys. I'll tell you about that in a second.
He loves Raymond, don't you? Get him off your mind, will you? This is Shaun King.
Mike Olstad in the game at the 42-yard line, and he's taken down behind the line of scrimmage by Devin Bush. It's the Raymond family and the James family, and it's an investment firm.
That's a good offensive lineman, huh? Love that name. Wunch. Madden would be all over that. He'd be wunching the whole night. Wunch, bam, wunch, pow.
2nd and 13. Dunn. 3rd and 14. Out of the shotgun. And the blitz works that time because that was Devin Bush who disguised it pretty well and then walked up at the end, and it's Bush who winds up with the sack.
And what he did is he avoided the block of Warrick Dunn. Dunn couldn't get the job done. Watch Dunn right here come over and try to pick up Bush, number 23. Bush is not going to be denied. Comes in and picks up his first sack of the year and his first career sack. How about that?
Mark Royals to punt. Oz Hakeem, one of the very best at returning punts from the 18.
And now this is one of your Commodores, Eric Vance, making that tackle. I don't know what he's saying either about the fish.
What percentage?
90%.
90.
Other 10% are shotgun brides from Russia.
From the 26-yard line on first down, this is Marshaull Faulk. Quarterback comparison right there. Shaun King with the 2 touchdown passes. And look at the rating is almost double for King. Who would have figured?
You know, he's hit his last 11 out of 13. Remember that 0 for 3 start for Shaun King, but he's reading the defense and he's making the Rams pay for all the blitzes they're doing.
Each quarterback started 0 for 3 with an interception. 2nd and 7 from the 29. It's the Rams' first possession of this half. Big hole, he explodes it, and then Lynch with a forearm at the 40-yard line.
Wow. Call the Sables. That's old school.
Marshaull Faulk is in the running to daylight, and the daylight's going to go out. John Lynch with another lynching. What a shot.
Well,
almost illegal helmet to helmet there, too.
In that case, he saw daylight at the end of a long tunnel, then everything went dark.
First down at the 41-yard line. Warner going deep into coverage. And a good battle between Bruce and Lynch Wins that one along with Damian Robinson.
That looked like one of those Culpepper to Randy Moss passes. It's just, for all the strengths Isaac Bruce has, he doesn't quite jump ball like Randy does.
And Colonel Werner's trying to make something happen. But look how deep Robinson was playing. He's got his eyes on that ball the whole way. Warner got away with one here. This ball should have been intercepted. Isaac Bruce with good effort here. That ball is thrown about 70 yards. But Robinson playing very, very deep.
2nd and 10, 8:41 left in the 3rd. Blitz, and they run it to the right, and Faulk, and that's Robinson who can't get him down by the shirt. And then Marshall takes it up to the 49-yard line, about 2 yards shy of the first down. Talk about a guy all over the field. Robinson goes deep, then he comes in and almost makes the tackle in the backfield.
And he's trying to tackle Marshaull Faulk, who's the leading candidate for MVP in the NFL this season because he's the world's most elusive runner, reminiscent of the great Gale Sayers and Barry Sanders. And when you factor in Faulk's receiving skills and his football smarts, you have the league's most dangerous player. And if it wasn't for that knee injury earlier, he'd be breaking his own record this year.
From the 48, 3rd and 3. Warner throws, it's caught, and that is Hakeem stretching and reaching and picking up the first down.
Nice to see somebody on 3rd and a certain distance run their pattern at the right depth.
He was real close to being just a little short of that right depth, Dennis, but that reaching and stretching and his strength, you don't expect it from Hakeem, just a 178-pounder, but watch this effort after the catch. Pulling away from Ronde Barber and picking up the first down. That's a huge play.
Rams at the Tampa 48, halfway through 3rd quarter, Bucks by 10. Faulk. No room, good play. Marcus Jones. Marcus with 13 sacks for playing the run that time beautifully.
You know, it's so funny to watch the realities flipped inside out here, Al. The Rams almost have to be patient with the running attack and Faulk. The Bucks are going for everything.
Well, look at the athlete that Marcus Jones is, playing a stand-up defensive end there, fighting off the block, and then bringing down Marshaull Faulk. Jeff Robinson trying to get the block on him, but even as he's falling down, he keeps his head up.
Having his career year in 2000. 2nd and 12, the blitz. Warner has it picked off, and that is Robinson, and what a series for Robinson.
Coop, ka-choo.
Dunn up to the 47 after that Robinson pick, and it was Robinson last week who made the interception against Jay Fiedler late in the Miami game. There's a flag here. Johnny Greer will tell us about it.
Gonna get Jerry Wunsch for holding on Kevin Carter. But that was a big interception last week to seal that victory. This is not a way to start, though, after a turnover.
71, offense. Still first down.
He's a very special guy, and here he carries the ball for 5 up to the 27-yard line, tackled by Wistrom.
And he's just 4 yards shy for going over 1,000 yards on the season. He says it's not that big a deal in the NFL because to get there with a 16-game season, you have to average 65 yards a game. He did it in college. He thought that was a lot bigger accomplishment. But even so, with the way things have gone for the Buccaneers, he's pretty proud of this.
15 carries tonight for 48 yards, and there's action before the snap.
Hey, 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 hey.
Prior to the snap, false start, number 71, offense. Still second down.
Warrick Dunn made a very big play last week. We talked about Robinson in that Miami game, and he talked about it.
I was totally focused on the football, and once I caught the football, my eyes went up and I saw Surtain trying to kill me in a sense. So I just tried to ball up. He didn't wrap me up. He just tried to knock me out, and I was able to stay balanced. And after that, I was just running for my life.
Huge play in that game, won by Tampa at Miami, 16-13. Second and long, and the pass is incomplete. Good coverage that time, and a little miscommunication. And King wants a flag for being hit, but he doesn't find one. Riddell Anthony.
He's claiming Anthony was held on the outside. King trying to hit the fade pattern. Again, it's a blitz. You see Mike Jones coming, 52. And right there, the ball must have been ruled uncatchable. Thrown to the outside as Anthony cut to the inside.
Well, 3rd and 20. Buck ball dictates you just run for 3 and punt it. Let's see if Dungy wants to send a message.
They've been sending a lot of messages tonight. 3rd and 20. Now they keep it on the ground. Inside handoff to Dunn. But he can only get up to the 25-yard line, and so the Rams hold. Tough crowd tonight. They're booing.
Just like Dangerfield.
Yeah, I mean, they've opened it up about as much as you can expect against the Rams.
Tough room, tough room.
Very tough room. We'll be here all week.
Who was that we just showed in the crowd?
Freddie Dangerfield.
Oh, all right. You're my celebrity guy now.
Mark Royals punt, and a fair catch is signaled for and juggled and then made at the 39-yard line on Shaquem.
Memories light the corners of my mind. Hey, you know who else's birthday it is today? Albino's delightful wife, Linda Michaels. She's home. She's in her flip-flops. Unwinding. Happy birthday, Dollface.
Happy birthday, Dollface.
And it's my father's birthday tomorrow.
Oh, wow. The great Bob Fouts.
He's 39 again.
1st and 10. Here's a screen pass. Marshaull Faulk. And he takes it up to the 47 and close to a first.
What a great tackle by Shelton Quarles. It looked like Faulk was going to break loose for a big game.
Check in with Eric. ED?
Well, Al, the Rams are known for being a fast football team. One of the concerns are them playing on grass. Now, as you watch them play, a lot of the receivers have slipped down because when you play on AstroTurf, you have a tendency to really have really good footing. Now, on natural grass, I played on both, you will slip down sometime, and that is what's happening to the wide receivers of the Rams right now. They're losing their footing a lot.
And those receivers tonight, well, Holt's caught 4 for 39, Bruce 3 for 36. Warner's only thrown for 134 yards. 2nd and 1. The ground again. It's Faulk into Buck territory. Takes it to the 46.
What a chess match we've got going here, Al. The Bucks are trying to be the Rams and vice versa.
Yeah. Well, the strength of this Buck defense is that front four getting after the quarterbacks. They're not expecting the Rams to just use power running game right at that front four. But it's been very effective for Marshaull Faulk tonight.
And obviously, Martz has enough time, 2:50 left in the 3rd. It's kind of a smart play.
Look at that. The Rams, despite their offensive prowess, when trailing by 10 or more points, have lost their last 15 games. And there's action up front. That's Tucker and Sapp.
Ball start. Number 15. Offense. Still first down.
Let's bring up one other thing here. The winner of this game goes to the playoffs. If the Bucks hold this lead and win, they would get a first-round playoff bye if they then go on to Green Bay and beat them, while the Rams win in New Orleans and the Vikings lose to the Colts. But a lot of things have to happen. That would give them a number 2 seed. They'd have an off week. If nothing else, they would get to the playoffs. Also, if Tampa wins, New Orleans is automatically in the playoffs, and Detroit controls its fate. And this is caught by Torry Holt. One thing I think that's been overlooked, guys, the Lions, if the Bucks win tonight, if the Lions beat Chicago, they're in, period.
You got to go on
Albino, you obviously have forgotten that Dan and I are idiots. Somewhere along the way, you got some bad information that we would understand that.
I have become a blithering idiot.
Albino, you're the only one with the brain capacity to suck all that in, babe. We're just
erstwhile.
I'm eating a hot dog and Dano's scratching himself.
I'm eating a hot dog and scratching myself. Here's Isaac Bruce. And he's out of bounds at the 28-yard line, and that's a first down.
You talk about breaking tendencies for the Rams. Isaac Bruce hasn't carried the ball all year long. He takes this reverse. This is just the second rusher for the Rams all night long. Isaac Bruce with that gain of 12 yards.
Rams tops in the league, 444 yards per game. and 336 passing yards per game. That's going to come down at least at this particular point. They passed for only 144 with the game almost 3/4 finished. On 1st and 10, Faulk hit hard. John Lynch comes up to make his acquaintance.
I think you're watching the maturation of Martz as a coach, though. This is really antithetical to his instincts, and I like what he's doing.
Watch Lynch come totally unblocked, and when he hits you, you're going down. You know, there's not much else you can say. Leads with his helmet almost every time, puts it right on the 8 in the 28 there, Marshaull Faulk's jersey.
Well, I think Lynch's shoulder's tweaked, isn't it?
He's got a separated left shoulder. You'd never know it.
2nd and 9. Warner flushed out, throws, almost intercepted. Trying to get it to the tight end Conwell, and Donnie Abraham was there to bat it away.
Right. Ernie Conwell's got to come back for this ball. He stands there, waits for it to come down. If he runs to the ball, he makes his catch. But by standing there, he allowed Donnie Abraham to come back and knock it away.
Even if he doesn't make the catch, if he goes to that ball, he probably gets a pass interference.
Yeah, he's just standing there waiting for it to come down.
Well,
can't do that.
I think Ernie Conwell's like option number 73 in this offense. He's probably not used to it, especially in the second half of the game.
Abraham will be going to the Pro Bowl, one of 8 Bucs to go to the Pro Bowl, and the only one of the 8 not starting. 3rd and 9. They're bunched up front for the Bucs. Warner throws, and getting open was Faulk. Touchdown, his 3rd of the night. What a play.
Wow. Yeah, they bunched up the defensive line, the Buccaneers did, and then came out of it. They were too late reacting to Faulk getting to the outside. The front 4 didn't give any pressure at all on Warner. Look at this matchup here. Chidi Ahanotu on Marshaull Faulk. Are you kidding me? They'll take that every time.
Wilkins for the point after.
This is Kurt Warner's first touchdown pass in a long time. And what a matchup he finds. Number 72, Chidi Ahanotu, trying to guard Marshaull Faulk. Can't blame Chidi, but that's just reading the defense and finding your best player.
I think if you can consistently match Faulk up on Ahanotu, they're going to win the majority of that.
Well, you're learning, Dennis, aren't you?
At the 6-yard line, Carl Williams.
Oh, no!
And Williams brings it all the way back up to the 49-yard line. This figures to be the final play of the 3rd quarter with Shaun King on 1st and 10 from the 48-yard line. With a swing toss out to Dunn. And Dunn takes it inside the 20, stays in bounds, and goes all the way for a touchdown.
Well, a lot more action left in that 3rd quarter than I would have thought.
Yes, there was.
And this was a lateral, so this will go down as a running play for Warrick Dunn. Did not step out of bounds. Came very close, and I think the Rams thought he was going to go out of bounds. Perfect call. Look at this, a backward pass. Now that means it's a running play for Warrick Dunn. That plant right there got inside Keith Lyle and down the sideline.
Have they really been sitting on this sort of potency all season? It's amazing.
Gramatica for the point after. We begin the 4th quarter. Gramatica's kick fielded on a couple of hops by Blevins, and from the 17, he brings it back up to the 27. Dunn tonight seems, Dan, to be able to get to the outside. The Rams very weak on the edges.
And poor tackling. Watch how close. Watch his left foot. Almost goes out of bounds right there. Then he completes his 52-yard run. Got to give Carl Williamson credit because he had that 41-yard kickoff return. But check out the poor tackle there by Michael Jones. Remember Warrick Dunn talked about balling up when he was hit by Patrick Surtain? Well, he just balled up, made himself a little ball, and bounced right off of Michael Jones for the touchdown run.
Bud Carson brought in mid-year as the defensive consultant to assist defensive coordinator Pete Junta. And you saw his reaction as Warner now tries to bring him back again, and Holt makes the catch up at the 47-yard line. As Dan mentioned, that was a backward pass, so it goes into the books as a run, and that run by Dunn puts him over 100 at 103.
And over 1,000 on the year. Do you notice how the Rams come out with their first down play? Because they've been running the ball so well, they come play action and get the completion over the middle.
Well, that sort of tackling is going to send Carson scurrying back into retirement.
From the 47-yard line on first down, this is Faulk now, and he's taken down in the backfield by the Pro Bowler Derek Brooks. One minute into the fourth quarter. Here are the numbers now through the first 45 minutes of play.
Well, it hasn't been easy for Kurt Warner to get back on top in the passing, but the rushing right here, Warrick Dunn has 103 yards running on the night so far. Shaun King, 38 yards on 4 carries.
Hey, what is that Who Let the Dogs Out song? Is that new?
Put him back in. 2nd and 11, and this is Holt taking it across the 50 to the 47-yard line for a gain of 6. Sports Center on ESPN following the game. All the reports from around the NFL. It's 3rd down and 4 at the 48-yard line.
Crowd certainly senses how big this play is coming up.
Wide open, 35, Ricky Prohl, and Prohl, who of course killed the Bucs last year with the catch in the NFC Championship game with a huge 3rd down conversion here.
This is what you expect out of a veteran. Watch him come down, read the defense, and then cut to the outside. Just finding a dead spot in that zone between the linebackers and in front of the safeties.
Well, Mart's only afforded himself like 9 variables on that play.
And now the catch is somehow made by Torry Holt at the 11-yard line. Unbelievable. John Lynch was blitzing that time. Hits Warner as he threw. And Holt's able to hang on here for his 8th catch.
I don't know how Ronde Barber doesn't make a play on this ball. Comes right over the top. One-handed catch as Holt pins the ball to the side of his helmet.
Reverend Ike. And then he gets stuck in Derek Brooks' wicket. Oh, it was Torry Holt?
Right.
He looks like Bruce a lot this week.
From the 12-yard line. Out of the eye with Faulk. Marshaull, who has scored 3 times tonight, takes it to the 9-yard line. Marshaull Faulk with 2 4-touchdown games this season. In the history of the NFL, there are only 2 other players who have had 2 4-touchdown games in 1 year. Jim Taylor in 62 and Gale Sayers in 65.
And Jimmy Taylor, the workmanlike back, his were back-to-back, which is the amazing thing.
There are the Rams since 1990, 0-52 when 10 or more down in the 4th. Trying to end that spell. Here goes Faulk. His 4th touchdown of the game, and he's the first player in the history of the NFL to score 4 touchdowns in a game 3 times in a season.
Boy, and these are hard yards, too. He went inside of John Lynch and got the touchdown. John Lynch doesn't miss many tackles, certainly hasn't missed many tonight, but Faulk made him miss on that 9-yarder.
Wilkins bangs it through. Wilkins to the 9-yard line. Carl Williams up to the 27. From the 27-yard line, here is Warrick Dunn beginning this drive, and there he goes again. All the way up to the 48-yard line. That's a gain of 21 for Dunn.
Well, the Rams are absolutely sieve-like here in the 2nd half.
They don't know where he is. They can't find him. He's got such great patience. He sets up his blocks. There's big Frank Middleton, 73. cuts inside that, and now he's deep into the secondary.
Dunn now with 124 yards on 18 carries. The ball is at the 48-yard line. First down. And a pass to Jacquez Green into Ram territory, close to a first at the 43-yard line.
You know, that's only Shaun King's, that's his first completion of the second half. In fact, Keyshawn Johnson has been shut out in the second half. Now Green comes limping off the field. That's not a good sign because he's the guy that can stretch the defense of the Rams. He's a big weapon.
You know, that's 4 weeks in a row now that Warrick has 125 yards, and it really sets up an interesting quandary for them in the playoffs, the chance they make it with All-Star.
Second and 1. And Dunn. First down from the 42. This is King throwing off his back foot, and that's incomplete.
And that's intentional grounding.
He wasn't outside the tight end box, what they call the tight end box. But that's grounding, and now Johnson comes back to argue with Johnny Greer. Dungy with a quizzical look.
I think Johnny Greer did not see that there were 2 Bucks in the area where King threw the ball, and that's what they're arguing about right now.
They may wave it off if Johnny finds out from the other officials that there was somebody in the area.
Johnny was looking at the pressure that King was under.
Yeah, Greer's a good official. He'll get it right.
Very good.
Intentional grounding. Number 10.
Johnny, I set you up there.
Also loss of down.
He had a receiver.
Yeah, he had 2 men in his face, though, after the play action. Kevin Carter's one of them.
Yeah, well, you know what? Greer is right. As it turns out, Greer is right.
There were Bucks in the area, but where King threw the ball was between them all.
They were in Bradenton.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was the area now.
Yes, I understand.
It's the
area. Bay Area. It's the Tampa Bay area.
Everything's spread out here.
There's a reaction on the Tampa bench to the call.
They're saying it's the area, Johnny.
Second down and 21 from the 46.
Yeah, Johnny's going to make it right now.
Wondering if Dungy is not asking if it's a reviewable call, which it would not be.
But he stopped the clock. They're going to get charged for a timeout here.
Tampa Bay has challenged the spot of the foul.
Well, that's an interesting call here. You can challenge where the foul was committed. You can't challenge whether there was a receiver in the area. You can't challenge the grounding part of it. I have to think this one through myself right now.
Well, we'll give you time.
Thank you. Let's go back to the beginning of the play here, which was second down.
See, I would call that in the area, but that's me.
Well, that's not what's being challenged here.
They marked the ball at the 46-yard line, and obviously Tony Dungy thinks that it should be a little bit closer to the 50-yard line because they mark it where King throws the ball.
Right. It's assessed from where he throws it. So let's see where he is. You see, he's at about the 48 and a half, and they put it at the 46. So what Dungy's doing here is he's saying, I want those 2.5 yards back.
But you know what else he gets in this? He gets to yell at Johnny Greer and question his call on the intentional grounding.
And he's also given Warren Sapp and some of the other Zoftic guys on that D-line a little bit of a blow over here.
The penalty for grounding is 10 yards.
Here he is on the 48. They move the ball back here. That's what Dungy's talking about. Difference in 2 yards there.
Let's go back. We're going to check the previous line of scrimmage before the play, which was the 42-yard line.
This is the 42 right there.
Okay.
we got to do some mathematics to figure out where Johnny will tell us.
They should move it back 10 yards from that spot.
Wow. All of a sudden, I'm at a barbecue at Archimedes' house.
And we're out of food.
What happened there?
The hibachi's busted.
See, now they might get this right, but I'm telling you, this ain't good
After
for the
reviewing
drama.
the play, the pass was thrown from the 49-yard line. By rule, we'll penalize from the line of scrimmage 10 yards, and it's also a loss of down. Tampa Bay will not be charged with a timeout.
Okay, so they win the challenge.
All right.
You know, if that ball had been thrown from beyond 10 yards, they would have marked it at the spot of the throw. But because it was inside 10 yards, it's a 10-yard penalty. And that's what Tony Dungy was talking about,
Right.
what he got right.
Interesting. Interesting.
Yes.
Really?
There'll be a quiz tomorrow.
I think I'm going to do some thesis work.
Let me tell you about the playoff scenario. It is 2nd down and 21 from the 48-yard line. King against the grain. Johnson leaps for it, can't make the catch at the 35-yard line. Devin Bush.
Key, big moment, Key.
Covering.
Yeah, you'd expect him to be able to make that catch. He's such a big target at 6'4". That ball was thrown very hard by King. Had a lot of momentum going as he was running forward. Keyshawn looking at the big board. He knows he should have caught it too. Watch King step up here. He's going to run. Now he sees Johnson. Throws on the run well. Johnson should have had that.
So 3rd and 20 from the 48-yard line. Shaun King out of the shotgun. No pressure. Great coverage. Wide open down the sideline is Jaquez Green. He got free. King spotted him to the 22. First down, Tampa.
Well, it just looked like the Rams defenders were playing a fallback zone or something. Nobody rushed the quarterback.
I think they were, oh, what a shot by Devin Bush on Green, and he hangs on to the ball as the ball is sitting on your sofa with you. Man, what a shot. But if you have 10 seconds to throw the ball, you're going to find somebody get open. Green finding the dead spot deep in the zone and hanging on for dear life.
And Bush is hurt. He comes out.
No pass rush at all to speak of for the Rams that time.
So King spots his man, completes his 13th out of 21, takes him to the 22, 1st and 10. Dunn all night long to the outside, and the Rams can't stop him to the 1. The Rams have just been awful on the edges tonight. Every time Dunn goes outside, that time Frank Middleton led the way. 1st and goal.
And Mike Alstott along with Middleton. Here's Middleton, 73. Watch Alstott as well. They open up that hole because Dunn sets it up so well. And our Steadicam, Big Zach outraces Dunn to the goal line.
Well, Middleton backing up some of his chatter with an all-encompassing block there.
Inside the 2, 1st and goal. The fake to Dunn, and then the pass is dropped by Dave Moore. The tight end was free. Couldn't hold it.
Somebody just blew up the center for Tampa Bay. Whoever was over him knocked him back into the quarterback.
Well, they were expecting a run play. This is a good call. Little play action. Perfect pass.
Oh.
Moore didn't realize he had more room in the corner of the end zone. I think he was thinking more about his feet than he was thinking about the ball.
Well,
He could have easily taken another step and made that catch.
2nd and goal from the 1. Dunn, not this time. Good play. That's Mike Jones, 52. Loss of 1.
Yeah,
Goal.
both linebackers came off the corner, Collins and Jones, and they just pinched Warrick Dunn. But without a huddle.
Without a huddle here, it is 3rd down and goal from the 2-yard line. No huddle, but not a hurry up.
This is a place on the field with a young quarterback you think you'd need a huddle. This late in the game.
They have the look of a team ready to take a timeout.
This is just running the clock down. Oh.
And they're going to run it down when you have a 3-point lead, as they do. They take the play clock to 1. They knew they were going to take a timeout. And they line up with Dunn next to King. They'll work out of the shotgun. They spread it out on 3rd and goal from the 3. And that is thrown into traffic and intercepted by McLean. Intended for Johnson. McLean would be well advised to take a knee, which he does deep in the end zone. And McLean has just possibly saved the Rams season.
I tell you what, that was a terrible decision by Shaun King. You've got 4 wide receivers in there, and you go to the one guy that's double covered, and you throw him the ball anyway. He was going to Keyshawn Johnson, come heck or high, you know what.
And that was Johnson at 6'4" against Bly at 5'9". 8th pick of the season for McLean.
Well, optimally, they wanted the touchdown there, but had they not scored and only gotten a field goal, didn't hurt them that much. They'd still be within 1 score, the Rams.
Bud Carson watching his unit just deliver a monster play. The ball at the 20-yard line, 1st down. That's Faulk, top of the screen, lined out wide left. Warner comes this way, throws. Roland Williams, the tight end, gain of 8 to the 28-yard line.
We talked about how this is a test of wills. Well, this is what it's all about right now. The Ram defense comes up with their best play of the night with that interception and gives the ball to their offense. And now the challenge is on. Can the Bucs stop the Rams? Drop it into a zone. Warner with a lot of time to find his outlet receiver here. Williams
in motion, and he sets in the slot on the right as Warner comes back over the middle, and he hits Holt, and Holt turns it back into Buck territory, being chased from behind, inside the 20, the 10, down St. Louis.
Warner's pass complete to Torry Holt for the score.
72 yards, and the Rams have the lead again.
Well, I'd say when you have the Rams by the throat, you better lean in on it. Tampa didn't.
2 plays, 80 yards, typical Ram fashion. The Buccaneers gambled. They came with pressure, single coverage on the outside, and it was all over.
That was the only time this season Tampa Bay did not score after a 1st and goal. They go from 1st and goal at the 1, that close to a 10-point lead. A fan's delight, 35-31 Rams. The same 2 teams who played to an 11-6 final in January. Carl Williams brings the ball back up to the 24-yard line. The Bucs at the 24-yard line, 1st and 10, 5:07 left in regulation. King under pressure and gets sacked. He's taken down in the arms of Kevin Carter, who had such a monster year last year and has been in and out of the starting lineup this season.
Now you're seeing the influence of Bud Carson on this defense, playing with a lot more confidence, bringing pressure that time, and picking up their 2nd sack of the night on Shaun King. This guy has been there, he's done that, he's seen it all, and he's instilling great confidence in his defense.
It is 2nd down and 16.
Gone.
King over the middle, caught 39-yard line, and Keyshawn Johnson, who'd had a silent 2nd half with a big reception here, his 1st reception of the half.
Boy, he took it right off the top of the head of London Fletcher. London at 5'10", covering Johnson down the middle. Great concentration by Keyshawn and a beautiful pass by Shaun King.
London was just happy to make his drop. He didn't even think about looking back for it.
That's a tough assignment.
From the 41-yard line, after a 23-yard gain. Going for Green, and that's incomplete. Good coverage. Crowd wants a flag. Bucs bench wants a flag. They don't get it. Dre Bly with the coverage saying no, no.
Dre Bly was draped all over Jacquez Green there. This ball is in the air for a long time. Watch Bly with the left hand there. Boy, that could have been called pass interference very easily. Watch Bly about 10 yards down the field. That grab there. There's another grab. There's a little push off by Green. Tell you what.
Well, maybe if Jacquez hadn't initiated that last one, he might have got it.
Side judge was Dean Look, former quarterback in the NFL. He had the perfect view and said no. 2nd down and 10. Under pressure. Boom! Walked it in the air and nearly intercepted at the 48-yard line by Todd Light. King had to throw off the back foot and floated one and got away with it.
He keeps throwing those eephus pitches. He's going to get a wideout kill.
I'm not sure that Warrick Dunn even saw this ball. King was under a lot of pressure, as Al said. Watch the blitz right up the middle. Bush and Fletcher. Dunn has no idea the ball's even coming. If it wasn't for the reaction of Todd Light.
King wanted a flag. Leonard Little put the pressure on that time. Big 3rd and 10 now from the 41-yard line. King out of the gun. Flag thrown. Over the middle through the hands of Warrick Dunn. Penalty marker at the snap.
But the play was allowed to go on. This might be against the Rams.
Head linesman is James Wilson. No, it's procedure against the Bucs.
This is where that shootout part of it.
Illegal formation. Number 85, offense. Number 85 lined up on the end of the line of scrimmage and covered up an eligible receiver. The penalty is declined. 4th down.
So it's 4th down now, and with 3:40 to go, they're faced with having to punt to the Rams with that potent offense. At least for the moment, they have not sent their punting unit out onto the field.
I don't think they can afford to not go for this 4th down now.
Ooh, boy, this is a very interesting call here. The clock 3:40. You have the 2-minute warning. The Bucs have 2 timeouts, but they're going to go for it on 4th down and 10 from the 41-yard line. Out of the gun. King over the middle, tip, incomplete, nearly intercepted. Mike Jones tipped it, and the Rams will take over at the 41 of Tampa Bay. Now, we've been talking about playoff scenarios all night as we look at this again.
You know, and again, it's King zeroing in on Keyshawn Johnson just too much. Threw that ball behind him.
You said his shortcoming was accuracy early in the game, Dan, and it came home to roost right there.
Yeah, and inexperience. Remember, 2nd-year guy trying to make the play. A costly interception where he tried to force it to Johnson, and then that 4th down pass thrown way behind the receiver.
Well, the one good thing is the Rams score so quickly, you might get the ball back a couple times.
1st and 10 at the 41-yard line. With 3:33, the Bucs will be forced to use their timeouts defensively. Here's Faulk. He is stopped at the 40. Will Tampa use a timeout here? Yes. Now, we've been talking about Tampa. If they win, they go to the playoffs. If they lose, they still control their fate. If they beat Green Bay at Green Bay next Sunday, and again, that's a monumental task because you all know the nonsense everybody talks about with under 40 degrees and all the rest of that stuff. This is Faulk now to the 37-yard line, tackled by Derek Brooks. The bob and weave guys right there. There are their numbers.
You know, Al, come to think of it, I take it back. I forgot who quarterbacks for the Packers. It's Brett Favre. He's playing hell-bent for leather, whether they're in or out.
Meanwhile, the Rams right now, they are going to take a timeout because what they want to do is take the play clock all the way down. And they take a timeout with 2:37
This is a 30-second timeout.
It's a 30-second timeout. Let's go to Eric Dickerson.
Well, Al, asked Kurt wonder how did he feel after his injury a couple of weeks ago. He said the one thing that he's glad to be back, and he's got his timing down. That's the most important thing. He says one thing about his receivers, he likes to hit them on the run, give him a chance to run with the football. And you saw in that pass to Torry Holt, that's exactly what he did. He hit him on the run, gave him a chance to really run with the football downfield.
Eric, keep your mic open a second. I have some news for you, which we've neglected to this point.
Okay.
You held the Rams record, 20 touchdowns in 1983.
I held that record. I know Marshaull Faulk broke that record. I know
Marshall
Marshall said he's the best running back for the Rams now. Me and him got to argue about that a little bit, Al.
He's got 22. He may have a chance to eclipse Emmitt Smith if he scores 3 next week. He would tie. He has 20. He has 23 touchdowns tonight. 4 tonight, so he's 2 shy of the Emmitt Smith mark. 3rd down and 6. And they give it to Marshall, and he is stopped, and that's what the Bucs had to do here at the 36-yard line. Anthony McFarland, and now Tampa will take its last time out on this side of the 2-minute warning.
So now they get the ball back with the 2-minute warning to stop the clock and the change of possession, but with no timeouts for their young quarterback and for an offense that, quite frankly, doesn't thrive in a hurry-up mode.
Well, that was a funky timeout, and it came from that overly conservative mindset they get into sometimes. I think, if anything, they'd learned the lesson tonight that sometimes it's not good to be that conservative. They could really use that timeout now.
They were so good in that first half. Remember, Shaun King was 11 out of 16 at halftime. Since then, he is 3 out of 12.
John Baker to punt.
This guy's got the easiest job in the league.
Yeah, averaging less than 3 punts a game because of his potent offense. Carl Williams and Baker boots it into the end zone, which is not what he had in mind.
Come on, Baker.
Take it at the 20 with 2:22. King. Up to the 25, Leonard Little makes the tackle, and the ball is loose, but no, they say incomplete. Dave Moore never had possession. Incomplete.
And now let's go back again to the time when the Bucs had the ball on the 3-yard line, and Dave Moore dropped a touchdown pass. This one right over the middle from our ump cam, and Moore's got it there. Well, I don't know. That's not an incomplete pass, folks. That is a fumble.
I'm surprised Moore was even an option after that earlier drop.
Well, the deal is that you can't challenge because the whistle blew. So it's incomplete, period. 2nd and 10 at the 20. On the blitz, King over the middle. It's caught, and it is Keyshawn Johnson up to the 28-yard line. Bucs hurrying up, and we'll see if they can get a play off before the 2-minute warning, which they won't. Well, this is the game right here for Tampa Bay. Convert or lose. They do not have a timeout. It is 3rd down and a long 2.
And this offense does not exude any confidence at all.
They got 2 plays.
They got to go the distance, though. With no timeouts, they got to get a touchdown.
Damn, it's fine.
King. Pressured, throws on the run, and they get the 1st down and stop the clock. Jacquez Green out of bounds at the 34-yard line.
Great play by the kid. He waved his one wide receiver down the field like he was going to go a little deeper, and then came underneath to pick up the 1st.
Trailing by 4 with 1:52 to play. Low snap.
Gone.
And then confusion on who was doing what. Johnson going to the inside. Green had cut off the pattern short, and Light on the corner blitz forced King to throw incomplete.
Well, he's not outside the tight ends, and he just flips it out of bounds. Do you have to be pressured?
He wasn't throwing it. No, I think there was just confusion on the patterns.
Right.
2nd down and 10 from the 35-yard line. Again, they blitz, they swing it out, and this time Dunn on a play similar, and then he laterals it back to King, and King,
are you kidding me?
is going to get the 1st down and get it to the 50-yard line, and then he's whacked out of bounds, and flags come in all over the place. That's Roland Williams. who hit him on the sideline. And if it was Williams who gets assessed the penalty, he's not even in the game. He's on offense.
A veritable cornucopia of disparate action.
Desperate times call for desperate measures. Here's the penalty at the end of this great play.
Number 52.
They're going to get Mike Jones and not Williams. Jones did hit him late. Williams got a free shot, but what a heads-up play by Warrick Dunn as Kevin Carter's pulling him down. Look at this improv. Talk about being on stage, Dennis.
And look at King. It's almost like that would be the last thing you expect, and yet he took it all in stride.
And since that was a lateral pass, King still could have thrown the ball. And the penalty moves it to the 35, and that's 2 weeks in a row that Dunn has made a miraculous play when it looked like it was death to the Bucs.
It's that same crummy swing pass, too, that's killing them.
Right, 1st and 10 from the 35. And that is caught at the 31, and it's Dunn trying to roll out of bounds.
That's a beautiful pass. That was his third option.
And he does. He gets out of bounds, stopping it at 126.
The Rams just can't get any pressure on King without a blitz. They come with just a 4-man rush right here, and look at how far away the offensive line of the Bucs keep all those white jerseys. King could read the defense, and again, like you said, Dennis, that was one of his 3rd or 4th outlet receivers.
2nd down and 4 from the 29. King for Green, and off his fingertips. He got by Dre Bly.
Wow.
Green at 5'9", Bly at 5'9", and it was there.
And Shaun King at 6 feet throws a perfect pass. You got to expect to make that catch, Jaquez. I'm not so sure he felt confident that that ball was going to get there.
And now it is 3rd down and 4 at the 29-yard line. Over the middle, sliding. It is Keyshawn. Does he make the catch? He does not. It's incomplete. He does not make the catch. And now it comes down to a 4th and 4 at the 29.
Let's see how close he got. The blitz came. Todd Light came on the blitz, and Keyshawn dropped that ball. That ball was not thrown that low. Hit him right about the shoulder pad as he's sliding down.
This guy wants to be the man. He's got to start making that catch.
2 drop passes in a row, and Warren Sapp can't believe it.
And so the game comes down to a 4th and 4 at the 29-yard line. King stepping out to the right, has room. Does he get the 1st down? He does, and he's out of bounds at the 24.
King said everybody's dropping passes. I'm keeping it.
This is the way he played when he was at Tulane for the Green Wave. Making all the plays, throwing the ball, running with the ball. He had to beat London Fletcher for that 1st down, and he gave it his all. He got it. He's got nobody to throw to. Now he sees again that it's a blitz, man-to-man coverage, a wide-open field, and just fast enough to pick up the 1st.
Johnson and Anthony wide to the right, Green split wide left, and now they send Keyshawn in motion to the near side. King throwing, and that's incomplete, trying to get it to Dunn, diving forward at the 9-yard line.
But he got the matchup he wanted. He got Grant Wistrom, a defensive end, covering Warrick Dunn out of the backfield. Bud Carson changing up his blitzes, bringing linebackers and safeties, dropping out a defensive end. A little bit better pass, and Warrick Dunn has that ball inside the 10-yard line.
How ironic that the Rams, an offensive machine, in the very most important moment of their season, it comes down to the D.
That's a great job by Wistrom, too, staying with Dunn.
2nd and 10 from the 23-yard line. And the Rams take a timeout. The Rams choose to take, well, the Rams are the only team who can take a timeout. Bucs have none. 2nd and 10. Shaun King, remember the great class, and there's Georgia Frontier, the owner of the Rams. You had the class of '99, and King was kind of like an afterthought, playing at Tulane. Quarterbacks going 1, 2, 3, Couch and Smith and McNabb, and then there was King. And before the end of his rookie season, he was the guy in the spotlight that took his team all the way to the championship game for the owner, Malcolm Glazer. Malcolm Glazer and his family buying the Bucs a few years back, getting this stadium built. And right now, he has to be a pretty nervous soul, but not showing his hand. It's 2nd down and 10 at the 23-yard line. 62 seconds to play.
Gone.
And that is thrown behind. And does he make the catch? He does at the 2-yard line. Riedel Anthony.
Yeah, that's an incredible catch.
That is a catch. Watch this ball thrown behind Riedel as he's working in the secondary there against Jacoby Shepard. What a grab for Anthony. That's his 12th catch of the year. He's money, though. It's his touchdowns. Almost got that one in.
It's his first catch tonight. It's his first catch in the last 4 games. Well, it's Monday night. What else is new?
I'm not so sure the Bucs want to be on the 2-yard line, though. They weren't so good the last time they were here.
They're inside. They're actually at the 1 officially. The last time on 1st and goal, they had it picked off. And this one is thrown behind Moore.
Why are you throwing the Moore? Why?
That's what
I mean, he's
Dungy wants
getting
to
open,
know.
but he has yet to prove that.
That was a tough try, though, for him. Ball was thrown way too hard. You got to lob that one to the big guy. King under pressure as he's been all night. Pulled the trigger too fast.
I'd move King out of the pocket. He's got a nice way of picking his hole.
2nd down and goal. Inside the 2. Toss to Dunn. Oh! He's in. Touchdown.
Oh, this is amazing. They might have left a little too much time, though.
I think everybody in the house is expecting King to throw that pass. Talk about crossing up the defense. Giving it to Warrick Dunn, who is Superman tonight as he flies in for the score.
Gramatica to put them up by 3. Nice placement by Royals, who had to reach back for it. 48 seconds. The Rams have 1 timeout. And the guy they're really going to miss right now is Tony Horn, one of the best at running back kickoffs in the league, but he's hurt.
Well, Mark said he might put Hakeem back on a kickoff if he needed it.
And this might be the time.
I'd say he needs it.
You remember, the Rams had to use the timeout defensively on that incredible 80-yard drive by the Buccaneers.
And this defense, they're sapped, and you saw Brooks, and they could only sit and watch as an offense which really hasn't held up its part of the bargain comes through when they had to.
Well, if this lead holds up, you're talking about a Tampa Bay team that might go into the playoffs hitting on every cylinder, because this is what the defense needed to see out of these guys.
What an effort by Warrick Dunn. Looked like he took off from about the 3-yard line. George Hageman, the 79, getting out in front. That created the void, and nothing was going to stop Dunn.
Wow.
Ray Bly, no, I'm sorry.
Warrick came off one of those mini tramps. Praise the Lord.
Marshaull Faulk is going to go back to return the kick.
Wow.
Why not? Best player on the field for St. Louis. Maybe the best player out there, period. Although you get a pretty good argument for the other 28 tonight.
Dunn and Faulk, 48 seconds, 1 timeout, and Faulk back to return the kick.
I know Wilkins has an accurate leg. Does he have a long leg?
He's got a career long of 57.
He's got a long leg.
One thing about Gramatica is did a lot of short kickoffs tonight.
And here comes the first run back of Faulk's career from the 4. He can only take it back to the 21. And that took 7 seconds off the clock. Then there's a scrum, and there's Gramatica who gets into it. The kicker with Dre Bly.
Marty, go to the bench.
I'll finish it, says Warren. Now the Rams try to get into field goal position for Wilkins. As we've stated, the guy who's had a perfect season. Hasn't missed a field goal attempt, hasn't missed an extra point. Crowd is roaring. And that is, dropped by Bruce, who started to look upfield. Of all guys, Isaac Bruce at the 42-yard line dropped it.
Perfect. No question, he was looking to run before he made the catch. Little wry smile on his face as he looks at the replay board. He knows he cost his team a big one that time. So uncharacteristic of Isaac Bruce.
2nd down and 10. The ball is at the 21-yard line. Warner, deep downfield, Lynch intercepts at the 50, and that will do it.
Kurt Warner was thrown to a man who wasn't expecting it. Torry Holt never saw the ball, never looked for the ball, and John Lynch playing center field after Warren Sapp and all his buddies put pressure on the quarterback, forced that terrible throw by Kurt Warner.
This will put the Bucs into the playoffs. This will put the Saints into the playoffs. And the Rams will need a wing and a prayer. And this will be the end of the game.